Okay. So, good evening, everybody. This is our weekly team leaders Zoom. Now, I am aware that a lot of us have been at a car presentation today, myself included, and are still travelling back. So I contacted Sarah and said, are you happy for me to hit record? And she said, yes. So thank you so much for that, Sarah. Because I know that they are absolutely stressing trying to get back. So at least they don't have to drive like maniacs now. So I am so thankful that the gorgeous Sarah Law is on this call, because actually a little interesting thing about this is, when I first started Arbonne, Sarah was obviously then Stubbins before she was married. Sarah Stubbins was one of the first people that I ever found on YouTube. As you know, when you start your business, you don't really know what you're doing. You start typing Arbonne into YouTube. And Sarah Stubbins came up and did this call. And Suzanne will remember this. It was so good. I showed Ian, my husband, who's Suzanne's son. I was like, this woman is incredible. And so I was kind of in awe of Sarah from that moment. And then we went to AAC. And I was really, really like, I can't talk to Sarah. She's like a proper superstar. Like, she'll think I'm so stupid. And I stood next to her at something. I was so starstruck. And then she spoke to me and I was like, yeah. I don't even know what you said, Sarah. You were so lovely and so nice. I was like, I don't even know why I was so worried about you just being such a genuinely just beautiful person, but you're so approachable, you're so easy to talk to, you're so lovely, that if anyone ever does feel like that way about anybody, don't, like, Sarah's just proof of the pudding. Yes, you can be absolutely stunning, but also she's normal, like a normal nice person. So that was just a little bit about that. I just thought that might be quite funny. I'm not like, I don't feel like that now. I still think Sarah's gorgeous, but she's also approachable and easy to talk to. So I am really, really grateful, Sarah, that you're on this call. I've wanted you to do a call for us for the past 2.5 years, but as I said, I was way too scared to ask, but have done now. So thank you so much for being on this call and for sharing a bit about your journey and some of your leadership tips. And you've already had some questions sent to you to answer on behalf of people. And then if anyone else has any other questions, just put them into the chat box and then we can address them afterwards. So thank you so much, Sarah. Over to you to share your journey.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Danny. And thank you so much for that absolutely wonderful introduction. And it's so funny because when I think about, like, when you talk about me like that, and I think exactly the same about you, like, I watch you on YouTube like a hawk. I'm like, oh my goodness, this girl is incredible. And that's the wonderful thing about this whole company and this organization, is that it attracts people who are great. And also, I think the best thing about it is knowing that we all didn't start like we are now. You know, I was absolutely shocking when I started this business. I had absolutely no idea, and I will talk to you a little bit more about that in my journey. But that's the wonderful thing, is knowing that we all start in exactly the same place, and we all have the ability to grow ourselves and transform into leaders, which is obviously where you guys are at the moment as area managers. So I just want to say, firstly, thank you for inviting me onto the call. I do feel incredibly honoured to be with you all, sharing my top tips and my journey. And my first tip, which actually wasn't going to be a tip, but it is now, is exactly what Danny said. Never be afraid to go and talk to someone, because I did exactly the same thing when I started my business. I put people on pedestals. I didn't dare speak to Ian Pritchard, Gordon Fraser. I literally was like, I can't speak to those people. And now I'm like, why was I scared of them? Like, they're the most approachable, lovely people who would, you know, cut their arm off to help you. And that's what you have to remember. We are all the same. I always say to people, I go to the toilet, I wipe my bum, I pick my nose. I'm normal. We are all normal. So don't ever be afraid to speak to people and ask for help, advice, support, whatever it is, because we're all in this together and we're all here to be successful together and to help each other. And you can learn something from everybody. I learned so much speaking to consultants, speaking to district managers, area managers. I'm literally like, what are you doing? I need to do that. How do I get to region? And that's the wonderful thing about this. So always have your learning hat on, learn from every single experience and every single person, and never feel like you're below anyone. You are exactly the same. You're you. You're here to be you and not anybody else. So just value the person that you are. So talking to you about my journey, what an interesting journey it's been. It's been just over 7 years now, which is crazy because it feels like a blink. I literally feel like I've blinked and it's 7 years have gone. And I just can't actually cope with that. And I can't actually imagine my life without Arbonne in it. I really, really can't. And you have to have that passion. And I believe that you guys are area managers because of that. You wouldn't be area managers if you weren't that passionate about Arbonne, because it means that you've worked your business hard to become an area manager. But you have to kind of continue with that and preserve that. And I literally love Arbonne like it's my baby. I can't cope with how much I'm in love with this organisation and this company. And that is the thing that will drive you forward, because this business becomes bigger than you then. So I started my business on June 24th, 2009. I was actually living in Germany at the time because I was a dancer and I was performing over there. And I'd been over there for 3.5 years, which was never my plan. My plan was to be there for a year and come home, work in the West End, live the dream. So I was doing We Will Rock You for a year over there. I then auditioned for Starlight Express, the roller skates job, and got that. So I stayed there for another 2.5 years. And at the end of that contract, as much as I loved that role, I really did, because it was so varied, it was so exciting and fast paced, which is the kind of thing I like. I realised after about 1.5 years that I was actually missing out on life, on family, on birthdays, on funerals, all these other things I was missing. I'm just going to sneeze. Oh no, it's gone. Sorry, small interlude. Yeah, so I was missing out on life, and I just thought, you know what? I just am craving a bit of normality, and also I'm craving a bit of inspiration, because I've been doing the same role for 2.5 years, playing the same character for 2.5 years. So my brain was just a bit like, is this it? Is there more to life? And so I thought, right, that's it. I'm going back to the UK. I'm going to audition in London. I'm going to live in London, and then, you know, go for West End roles, which was my dream. But when I really thought about it, I was like, okay, that is what I want. But at the same time, I feel like I want something new to stimulate my mind. I want to use some new brain cells to do something different as well. And also, I really did think about my future and went, how is my life ever going to be stable? How am I ever going to have any kind of normality with what I do? And also, I realised that living in London it's not cheap. I'd lived in London before with Sarah Dunning, and at that point, when we lived together, actually, we were both on housing benefits. We couldn't afford to live at all. And that's what I love about seeing where we're at now, is just the difference in our lives because of Arbonne. It's all because of Arbonne. So anyway, I was living in Germany, decided to come back to the UK, obviously had nothing to come home to, was researching online different things to do. I was going to train in makeup because I'd always been passionate about it, but then in the same respect, I was like, is that what I really want to do? I don't know. I was just lost, basically. And I received an email from Sarah Dunning saying, I want you to be my business partner. That was it. And I said, yes. All I knew was that she was doing Arbonne, but I didn't really know what Arbonne was. All I knew was that it was a product company, because I bought an FC5 set off Sarah when she was going for district manager, and I was there to support her, so I bought the FC5 set. But that's all I really knew about Arbonne. I knew nothing else. I just put my trust in her, and I was like, yeah, I'm in. If you're doing it, I'm looking for something. I'm open right now. And yeah, I am totally in. So first thing she did was emailed me the compensation plan.
Sarah, what level was she when that happened?
She was a consultant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So she was she'd been doing the business for about 13 months. And I think she'd had one other consultant join her like the month before me. And then I joined the month after, which is crazy to think about now when you look at Sarah's business. It's like mind blowing. And yeah, so she sent me the compensation plan through. I printed it off. I didn't even have like any proper paper, so it was on like that squared paper, so I couldn't even read it properly. And even if I had read it, I didn't understand it at all. I was like, that's lovely, put it in a drawer. And then came back to the UK and was living in London at that time, absolutely broke. And the first thing I went to was actually Ian Pritchard and Gail Longhurst's car presentation, which is just, again, crazy to think about that was my first real exposure to Arbonne. And I remember going and just being like, oh, wow, this is very different to what I thought it was. This is so much bigger. And I remember walking in, Eamon Holmes was there, and I was like, if Eamon Holmes is here, I am definitely in. And I didn't really, at that point, still understand what it was about, what I had to do. And then I remember when I was going, I'd signed up, or I was about to sign up, and I had no internet at my house in London because we'd only just moved in. So I went to this little internet cafe down the road, because that was before the times of having like proper internet on your phone and all that kind of stuff. Went to this little internet cafe down the road and rang to Sarah, and I was like, right, I'm going to sign up now. And she was like, brilliant. And I remember literally sweating with fear. And I was just like, I have to do this now, because if I don't do it now, I'm not going to do it. And I just jumped in. I was like, that is it, because I'm very good at recognizing fear and realizing that if I'm fearful of something, I absolutely have to do it, which is another one of my tips is, whenever you feel fearful, know that that is the biggest sign that that is something you have to do. So I started my business, had absolutely no idea what I was doing. None of us did. I mean, if we could tell you some of the stories of the things we did when we were starting, you'd just be like, how on earth do they have the businesses that they have? One of the best examples is when I started, I invested in like gold bags. So I had my anti-aging kits, didn't know what to do with them. I remember them turning up at my house and I was like, Sarah, all these boxes have turned up. What do I do with them? And she was like, well, you can use what you want. And I was like, I don't even know what to do. I barely wash my face. I don't really know what these products are, but brilliant. And then I said, Sarah, what do I do with them? And she was like, well, you go and give them to people. And I was like, okay. And she was like, well, this is what I've been doing. I've been going into Chiswick High Street and going into shops and estate agents and just asking them if they'd like to try them. So I was like, well, that's obviously what we do then. Just, you know, I didn't even question it. I was like, fine, I'll do that then. So I used to trek out every single day of my life with 8 gold bags. And I used to walk up and down Angel High Street in London, again, sweating with fear because it absolutely petrified me. And it used to take me about 3 hours because I'd go out, I'd stand in front of a shop and I'd be like, right, just go in. And then the other part of my brain was going, no, you can't do this. This is awful. Don't do it. And then the other half was like, come on, Sarah, if you don't do this, you're never going to be a national vice president. It's never going to work. And I was like, come on, just do it. And I'd walk into shops and literally be like, would anyone like a free product trial? And people were just like, no. And had the odd random person here and there who'd take a gold bag. I just gave them out to anybody. No idea who these people were. They could have stolen everything, but I didn't have a clue. Most of the time what happened was they took the gold bag, stuck it on the floor and didn't use it, and then I'd go and pick it up and they'd just be like, here you go. And that's what I did for a good few months in my business, having no idea what I was doing. But somehow I managed to get to district manager in 2 months. At that point, I was really no good at selling either. That was one of my biggest fears, was selling. Somehow I did a few product events, drummed up QB and reached district manager. I actually, I think it was the January that year, I went to Vegas for the first time. So I started my business in the June. Vegas came around in the January. And Sarah Dunning had never been to Vegas before, and she actually didn't go that year either. And so I actually went without Sarah going. And I was a team of 2. So there was me and one of my consultants called Camilla. We both trekked to Vegas. There were only about 30 people from the UK there. I knew nobody else from the UK. I was literally petrified of Gordon and Ian. We used to sneak into the back of the conference, sit at the back, sneak back out again. And I remember at the end of the conference, Ian asking if me and Camilla would like to have a coffee with him. And we were literally like, oh my God, what are we going to say? What are we going to talk to him about? Because we were just so petrified that he was going to be like, right, what are you doing? And we were like, we don't know. We felt like frauds, basically. And it's so funny to look back at now, because obviously things are so different, and the contingency of the UK that go over to Vegas, and it's like, I feel like everyone becomes a part of a big family now. And it's so funny. And again, it was not them, it was our preconceived ideas of who they were, and that we didn't feel worthy of success, and we were so far removed from what they were. And that's the great thing now, is we have so many success stories from people from every kind of background, and I love that. And I think that was, for me, the biggest changing point in my business, was seeing people like Sarah Dunning become the evidence. Made me go, well, if Sarah can do it, then I can do it. I'm no different. And she's the representative of people like me, not what I'd consider, that sounds awful, but you know, Ian and Gordon, everyone are normal people, but it's because I perceive them as not being normal, so extraordinary in what they do. So yeah, I got to district manager in 2 months, and then I got stuck there. I was stuck there for a good amount of time. The one thing I can say I've always been blessed with is a determination to succeed in anything, and to have a strong work ethic. So even as a dancer, I was very much the underdog. I went to college very late. I didn't start dancing until I was 15. Most people start when they're 2. And I just knew that if I wanted to be successful, I had to work my butt off, and that's what I did. And in fact, I was probably one of the most successful people in my year at college, because I just worked hard and I never gave up, and I wasn't just giving it to me on a plate. Whereas a lot of people at my college were very talented, and they'd been doing it since they were like 2 years old. So they didn't really have this big driving force to become any better. Whereas I was like, I've got to up my game. If I ever want to be successful in this, I've got to work hard, because I was so far back from where they'd started. So that was a really big, I'd say, catalyst for me in my Arbonne journey as well, because I'd already had that massive work ethic instilled into me from a dancer perspective. So I've always had that. And like I said, I've never let fear be the thing that stopped me. I've always made it actually drive me forward. So when someone said to me, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that, again, I had the same thing as being a dancer. people used to say, oh, on careers day at school, and they were like, yeah, no, you have to get a proper job. And I was like, right, okay, then I'll show you. And anytime someone said to me, yeah, I don't think that's a very sensible career choice or whatever, I was like, right, that is it. I'm going to prove even more. So that was like a massive driving force for me. And I think that kind of propelled me in Arbonne, because, we all get it. The amount of people who say to us, oh, it'll never work. Yeah, come back to me when you get the car, all that stuff. And I was like, right, okay, then I absolutely will. I wouldn't say that it's the best way to motivate yourself is by, it's not lack, but it's from a negative place, but it also can be quite a good driving force. So you want a positive driving force, but that little bit of like, right, I will show you, definitely propels you forward. But I got stuck, and I now know why, but at the time I couldn't figure it out. I was like, why the hell am I still a district manager? This is not moving as quickly as I wanted it to. And I think we all have this idea that we're going to be national vice presidents in 6 months, 2 years, whatever it is, straight away. And when it doesn't necessarily go as quickly as you think it's going to go, then you start to get this like, well, this is not what I thought it was. This is not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And it wasn't that I ever thought it was going to be really easy, but it was like that I'd kind of sucked the joy out of my business at that point. And now looking back, I know exactly why I was stuck as a district manager. It was because I was not growing as a person. So my biggest tip, especially for you as area managers, is you have to grow more than you can think you could ever grow. I was not reading enough. I would read a bit here and there, but I wasn't reading enough. So your business will only grow as much as you do. And I truly believe as an area manager, you need to be the ones reading more than anybody. Activity, yes, it's so important, but you need to up your game with reading. You can never read too much as an area manager. The more you can absorb into yourself from all aspects, the more it will help you grow into the regional vice president and national vice president that you're about to become. And also, my second tip is don't adopt a catastrophe thinking mentality. And again, I definitely had that. I kind of was like, well, I've been a district manager for 8 months. This is never going to work. No one's going to join me. And I actually remember we used to have socials in London every Friday night because we didn't really know what else to do. So we just got together and had a drink, really, and talked about the seesaw chalet and what our lives would be like when this eventually worked. And I remember sitting there and just being like, and we used to bring friends along to these as well, people who probably would have, liked to see a bit more about the business. They could come along and just mingle with us and see that we were normal. And I remember just sitting there in one of these socials being like, well, yeah, I'm not where I want to be, and this is not, and there was a prospect there, and I was doing that, and I'm just like, I look back now and I'm like, that poor person was probably thinking about doing Arbonne, and I was there like, face like a slapped bum, going, yeah, this doesn't work. But I remember the shift. I suddenly went to bed, woke up the next day, and I was like, what is wrong with you, Sarah? Like, get a grip. In the grand scheme of life, you've been a district manager for probably 8 months. And why does that matter? This is like, that's a blip. So I would just say, like, obviously, again, as area managers, you're in a different place to someone who's starting their business. But it's sometimes, especially if you've been at a level for a long time, it's sometimes too easy to adopt that catastrophe thinking of, well, been an area manager for a year, I'm going to be an area manager for another 3. It's that whole mentality of thinking, well, that's what it's been like so far, so it's just going to continue. I'm never going to get to the next level. And it's just about being aware. I think the more aware you can be of your thoughts and feelings, the more you can do to change them. If you don't have awareness of them, you can't change them. But as soon as you start to become aware, it means you go, ooh, why am I thinking like that? Why am I feeling like that? And how can I change it? And again, that is one of the biggest shifts that I had, was just becoming aware in everything. Every single thing that I was doing, every single feeling, emotion that I had, everything that was coming out of my mouth, I just became more aware. So just be aware. That is the one word, awareness, of people, of feelings, emotions, thoughts, everything. Be as aware as you physically can. And then area to region was a really interesting journey for me. It just happened. And I know that sounds like, oh, great, it's not very inspiring, but it really did. And it's because I've been consistent the whole time in my business. I never stopped. I didn't take a day off, even though at that point I'd gone on tour with We Will Rock You in the UK. So I was living out of a suitcase. I was in a theatre 24/7. I didn't have a base, but it just happened because I'd had that consistency from day one of just doing, and it wasn't like I did massive things, but I was doing a little bit every single day. And also the reason I know it happened was because I just believed it would happen. And again, I know that sounds so simple, but do not underestimate belief. And again, it's one of those things that I still sometimes underestimate. And I was having this conversation with Hetty last night, actually, and we were talking about this. And the most miraculous things have happened in our businesses when we've just chosen to believe. And if you look at people like Stuart Armfield, Nicola Wills, the reason their businesses are doing what their businesses are doing is because they just have so much belief in where they're going, in their team, in all of that. So my best advice is just learn to believe and trust in the process more. Like, don't worry. And I know, again, it's so easy to say, but there's no need to worry. Just trust in the process. Everything is happening at the right time for you. You're going through every single thing that you're going through for a reason. If you're at a level and you've been there for a while, you're there for a reason. You're there to learn something new. And it could be that you're there to learn patience. Whatever it is, you're there to learn something. So just trust in it and bring the love and joy back into it, because it is easy when you are stuck at a level for a while, or you've been there for a while. And I'm not going to say stuck anymore, because you're not stuck, you're never stuck. But when you've been at a level for a while, it's easy to let the joy slip, because you just kind of go, well, you lose the love a little bit sometimes. And again, I can say that from experience, because again, I've been a region for a long time, and there was definitely a phase when I was like, do you know what, I'm fed up with this, I'm over it, whinging, moaning, got my catastrophe mentality back. But then again, what I realized when that was happening was that no one would want to join my business if it was like that for a start. My team weren't doing as much as they could have been doing, because I was just literally like, and they were stressed from it as well. So it's like, you have to just go, do you know what, let it go, breathe and let it go, and just trust that if you're doing the do, it will happen. So I wasn't doing anything new or different to get to region. It was just consistent activity. I would come home once a week on my day off, because I had one day off a week, and I'd see my team, and I'd just do presentations again all around the country, wherever I could, using whatever means I could. And it just happened. And I remember the day I suddenly believed I was doing it. I'd already declared at a region training to Ian and Gordon and everyone else that I would be a regional vice president by my 30th birthday. So it was like, right, this has to happen now, because I've just declared to a room of people that it's happening. So I was like, I have to make it happen. But also I remember I was home from tour for one day off that I had, and I went to see my mum and dad, and I didn't have a car at that point. So I was borrowing my mum's car and sat in my mum's car, and all of a sudden I felt like it was a Mercedes. I could see it, and I literally got this massive wave of like, oh my goodness. And then I just knew, I was like, I know this is going to happen. I know we're going into qual this month, and I know next month we're going to complete. And that is exactly what happened. So like I said, never underestimate the power of your mind. It is the biggest tool you have in this business. The biggest tool. And again, I think sometimes if you're quite an action orientated person like I am, I'm very much about like, well, if you want more, you have to do more. And again, I think that's come from my upbringing of having to work hard to achieve anything, which isn't a bad thing, but in the same respect, sometimes it stops you letting go and trusting in the process of life. And it's when you start to just let go and trust in the process and believe that it suddenly goes, it all starts to come into you. It all starts to flow in the right direction. It's like you're on this stream where it's like flowing downhill and everything just flows into place. Whereas when you're trying to get a stream to go uphill, it just doesn't. So sometimes when you're trying so hard all the time, it's like you're pushing it further and further away from you. You put like all the energy is so forced that it's pushing everything away. So if you learn to just kind of do the consistent activity still, but learn to let go and breathe with it a little bit more and just trust in it and enjoy it, it will all start to flow into that downward stream. So the next tip I have for you is, however big you're thinking, think bigger. I know for me as an area manager, my goal was region. That was it. That was my goal. That's all I could see. And I truly believe to my very core that that is the very reason I've been a regional vice president for 5 years, because I couldn't even see nation. It wasn't even on my radar. I was like, region, that's it. So when I got to region, it felt like the biggest jump to go to nation. I was like, oh my goodness, I can actually be a national vice president. And it took me so long to build my belief that I could do that. And also what you need to think about is if you're thinking small and limiting yourself, it means that you're limiting everyone around you. Your goal should be to be an executive national vice president, because it means that you want to change other people's lives. If your goal is just to be a region or to be a nation, it's you. It's totally about you. It's not about you being an executive and helping other people. When you take that focus off you, this business is so much easier. So much easier. So for me now, the biggest thing is, yes, of course I want to be a nation, but all I keep seeing is, right, who in my business am I going to help have the life of the national vice president? Who are those people that I'm going to give that absolute winning lottery ticket to that is going to completely transform their entire futures? You have to have a selfish reason to do this, absolutely, because otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. And I want you to know as well that it's not selfish. Wanting this for yourself is not selfish, and that's a little mini tip. Don't feel guilty for wanting this, because again, that was a thing that I had for a long time. I felt guilty if I wanted this for myself. I was like, well, that's really selfish. Everyone keeps telling me this business is not about me, it's about other people. And then I feel bad if I want it for me. But don't. It has to be that you want it for you, definitely. But then it has to be that you see it for other people as well, that you want other people to be successful. But the only way they will be successful is if you become good at this and become successful. So it's that kind of vice versa situation that you have to want both. So my final tip is, as area managers, you just need to be doing more. That's it. You need to be growing more, reading more, sponsoring more, and sharing more. You really, really do. And however much you think you're doing, there's more. There's more you can do. There always is. I sometimes still look at my day and I'm like, what have I actually achieved today? Come on, you can get more in. And I know that it's a work in progress of being more organized, being more structured. That's all good. But don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up if you're not there yet, if you're not organized yet. Or, you know, I mean, from AAC, I'm sure most of you are AAC. I'm a circle. So I am literally the one who turns up at 10:01. And I was like, even after that, I was like, I'm still doing it. For God's sake, get a grip. And it is that thing of going, do you know what? It's fine. Learn that that is the kind of person you are. And that, yes, you can improve on it, but don't beat yourself up for being that person. That is just who you are. Learn to love who you are. That is my final tip. To move forward in this business, especially as an area manager, you absolutely have to love yourself. And I think that that is the biggest battle for most people in life. We think we like ourselves, but deep down, when we actually really listen to our self-talk, we realize there are so many things in there that we don't like about ourselves. And you are you. You were put on this earth for a reason, to be yourself, never ever to be anyone else. And again, this was a conversation I was having with Hetty last night about that. And it's so easy to compare yourself, not in a bad way. Like, I never look at like Hetty's business and Stuart's business and Sarah's business and I'm like, oh, damn them. You know, it's not fair. It's not that. But I always do compare, going, oh, they must be doing something that I'm not doing, or they're really good at that and maybe I'm not very good at that. But then it's so funny because me and Hetty were having this conversation last night where she was like, but I look at your business, I'm like, if I could just win an ACE award, and if I could earn that and do that, and like, just to win one would be wonderful. And I'm like, but I look at your business and I'm like, but you're a national vice president. So it's like everyone is doing the same thing, but don't, because you have to remember that your business is yours. You are you. That is it. You are not there to be someone else's business or to be somebody else. You just have to be the most wonderful version of you and value the characteristics and the strengths and the abilities that you have and the person that you truly are. Because what happens is there are so many things in life that take us away from our true selves. We end up putting all these different personas on and all these different hats, trying to please other people and all these things. And that's not our true selves. So going right back to who you truly are. When you were born as your true self. And then everything else, all these experiences shape us into something that isn't necessarily our true selves. So go right back to that and be like, who am I? Who is my true self? What are my core values? What do I truly believe in? And that is you. And be proud of that. Don't ever be afraid to share it and to be true to who you really are, to trust in yourself more than anything else. So finally, just like I said earlier, my biggest thing is to learn to let go. Learn to let go. You don't always need to be in complete control. You don't always need to be, clinging on for dear life, striving like it's, going to fall out the window if you don't hold on. Learn to let go. And it's that whole saying of like, there's an amazing quote that I saw. It was like about, someone says about flying and they're like, but what if I fall? And someone says, but what if your wings sprout and you fly? And it's about just going, do you know what, I'm just going to let myself fall and let the wings take you, because that is what will happen in your business. If you just go, I know where I'm going, I know what I need to do, and I'm just going to trust in it and trust that everything is meant to happen at the right point. So that is everything I wanted to share. And then I know I've got questions. that need to be answered.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I just think the best thing about you, Sarah, is even though you are truly, truly gorgeous, you are so normal. And I don't know if you've managed to catch up on the chat or not, multitasking, talking and moving. Everybody said the same thing, that it's so reassuring to hear somebody like you who's so successful just be so normal, and to have that rocky beginning. And everybody's literally just said, no, you're making me feel better about my journey, and you're making it more reassuring. So that is just so lovely to hear, that how you are now as a person, you weren't like that when you started your business. Because sometimes it is scary to look at people that are really successful and think, well, I'm not like them, but actually they all probably started out rubbish as well.
Absolutely. There are still things that I look at now and I'm like, I am rubbish at that. Honestly, that's the thing. You don't have to be, this isn't about perfection at all. And that was another massive learning curve for me. I've always been a perfectionist. Like if I've not done it spot on, then it's not worth it at all. And it's not about being perfect. Perfect is boring. Can you imagine if your journey was just perfect to the top? And actually, that's another reason I think that I've had a massive learning curve from region to nation, because I got to region and I was kind of like, oh, I haven't really got much of a story. And now I'm like, well, now I've got an epic one. Now I've got a good one to tell people. The girl who stayed as a nation for 50,000 years. I mean, a region. That's it. It's like we are all just in the same place. We're just, learning every single day, and knowing that 7 out of 10 is good enough. It really is.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so I've got a question that's not really related to your business, but I thought it'd be interesting, and I asked it on the chat. So you've known our National Vice President to be, Fiona McCarthy, for 7 years now. How much have you seen her grow from first meeting her in the business to now?
Oh, she's like a different person. It's amazing to watch. That is the best thing about this business, is seeing people and their journey and how they just transform into the most wonderful person. Not that they weren't before, but you just see them flourish and become confident and happy. And it's like this calmness, I think, that you see people adopt. They suddenly just become calm and confident and reassured. It's like nothing phases them. Whereas before it could have been like, certain things would fluster them, like, especially I was like that. But yeah, she's just, Fiona, I've always looked up to Fiona. I think she's the most incredible person. I remember when I first met Fiona and I was like, what is this lady doing? Seriously, like, she's got 50,000 preferred clients. I've got one. I was like, oh, help me. And she earns every incentive trip. I'm always on the incentive trips, picking her brains, going, right, what are you doing? How do I do this? So it's incredible to watch, but to see the growth in her and her business, it's astounding. It's the most wonderful thing to watch.
Oh, Fiona, did you want to say anything?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi! I didn't know you were on.
Yeah, I'm on. Oh, thank you, Sarah. So kind. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for you. And you know what? It's incredible, because you're right, Sarah. I mean, I know, Sarah, you and I were in the dark 0800, and I laugh. I say, we didn't have Facebook when we started Arbor. We just walked the streets, literally. Like, I remember we have these bags and you have to get them out. So I was the same as Sarah, accosting strangers in Tesco, getting kicked out of Tesco, like, ridiculous. Like, thank God I wasn't the only one who was doing it, And Sarah, you're right about the growth. And it's so funny, because I remember Hetty going on the cruise last year and saying, this is the first incentive I've ever earned. And it was like, okay, so I'm like, wow, however, I want to be a nation just like you. Right? So, your journey is your journey. And Sarah, you're the one person who's earned more incentives than me, awards, and you're always on that stage at GTC, incredible ambassador, and it truly is your time, young lady, because you've worked hard, and I know how hard you've worked, and it is, and it's celebrating all our successes together and showing other people. And Danni is just like incredible. A year to get to region. I mean, who does that?
Insane.
I'm a bit like you. 5 years at region. I'm like, I've almost 9 years and I'm not yet nation in the UK, but it's coming. And like you say, we're having fun doing it. And that's the main thing. And we love it. And we just know.
And I think we're going to be nations for a very long time. So why not enjoy getting there? It's like, it's not the end destination. So enjoy every single part of the journey, because otherwise it's just like, what is the point? Life is there to have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another thing to add is, a lot of people, when they get to region, they think they've arrived. Like, you get the car and it's like, okay, I'm here, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now my maintenance is 40,000, and hold on a minute, the real whole thing sets in where it's like, okay, I don't stop. In fact, I've only just started. And you've got to remember, but on your journey there, you've got those tools because you've built the toolkit along the way to be able to deal with being at that level. And when you go all out with your belief, then the universe conspires, the magic happens, and actually all these people start turning up in your business who are really professional, and you know, your region is like, it changes overnight almost from what your area of business looked like, because you're different, you know, and you get rewarded for your courage and bravery too.
Absolutely.
I love that. Thank you, Sarah. It's amazing. I'm coming off. I'll let somebody take over, Danny.
Okay, so the next question, Sarah, is everybody on this call has got a team and is a leader. Well, obviously everyone's a leader, even if they're just leading themselves, but everybody does have a team here. So what are your top tips throughout your past 7 years building an Arbonne business and leading of things that Jenny McCarthy's dropping something. Things that you, I'm going to mute her. Things that you would do and things that you wouldn't do in terms of leading a team.
In terms of leading a team, I truly believe that the best way is to lead by example and also to love on people. And I think that's a big thing that I didn't do enough of in the beginning. I loved my team, but I didn't show them enough love. And I think it's because it wasn't natural to me to be that way. I'm quite like, right, let's just do this and do this, rather than be like, ah. So it took me a lot to kind of bring down my barriers and my guards to be like, you know what? You guys are amazing. I love you. And now I literally love on them like I can't even cope. I'm like, do you know how amazing you are? So I would definitely say that has been a massive thing for me, is learning to love people for who they are a lot more, accept people for who they are and where they're at, and know that not everyone is like me. They don't all have the same work ethic that I've got. They don't have the same life as me, and learning to be okay with that. So if someone can't show up for something, then not to be like, well, that's it. They, rather just kind of let it go a little bit and be like, okay, it doesn't need to affect me, but why? Like, understand why they may not be there or what's going on in their head to stop them doing that, and try and really connect with them in that way to be able to lead them to a different place. Also, I think a massive thing with regards to leadership is the more you can listen, the better a leader you are. So I think one of the things I used to do a lot of was train. I'd do coaching calls for people, but it'd probably be me speaking most of the time saying, why don't you do this or do that? And it wasn't until I started to go, actually, so what do you feel you should do in that situation? What's stopping you? And asking them more questions and getting them to figure it out themselves, that it was more empowering for them, because someone will do something much more from their own thought processes than if you tell them to do it. So it was quite a hard thing to do, I have to say. Grow coaching, it's called, is learning to just ask questions and listen and help people come to their own conclusions. And it's really hard because there's so many times that I want to go, why don't you try this or why don't you do that, because you kind of feel like you know the answers, but they don't own it then. So it's just going, well, what do you think you should do? What are the options? What could you do? And then letting them come up with the answers themselves.
Can you remember when we did that at VP training, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly. And it was really funny because even when we were training on it, me and Danny were like, we feel like we're not really training. We're just kind of standing here and letting people do it themselves. But that's the whole point in Grow Coaching. We didn't actually have to really do anything, because it's enabling people to coach each other themselves. And that is the best thing. If you can adopt that into your business to help people figure out the conclusions themselves, they are much more likely to take it on board and do it. And it's a bit like when your mum tells you to do something, you're like, yeah, whatever. You just don't do it. Whereas when you want to do it, when you go, oh, I need to do that, because you're going to do it. And another example is my husband, Ben. So years ago, I said to him about reading and doing personal development. Would he? Absolutely not. He was like, I don't need to read. I was like, fine. And then he started building his own business and was doing a lot of research into different people who'd been successful entrepreneurs. And then one day came up to me and was like, have you read this book? And it was How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, I think I'm going to read it. And it's like, when I told him to do personal development, no chance. When he decided to do personal development, that was the difference. So as a mentor and a leader and a coach, that is what you're there to do, is to help people figure it out themselves, help them come up with the answers themselves and own their own decisions.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Sarah. Okay, so going in the chat, Jane Brown, you had the first question in the chat. Did you want to unmute yourself?
I did, but Sarah answered it. It was about, I was going to ask whether you were a circle, a triangle, or a square. And
you know what's really interesting? When I first went to Vegas, Connie Podesta trained at that first Vegas I went to, and I was a triangle, and now I'm a circle.
Really? Well, I guessed earlier, because me and Danny were on about this earlier, and I said, I think she's a circle, because you're just really bubbly and like, yeah. Like me, 'cause I'm a circle.
Right.
That was me. Thank you.
Jane, I thought you wanted to know why Eamon Holmes was at Ian Pritchard's.
Oh, yes, that was the other thing. Yes, why was Eamon Holmes there? That was it, yeah.
He's friends with Bill McFarlane.
Ah, right.
So that's why he was there. Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
All right, Suzanne, you asked a question. Did you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, Sarah. Can I first say that was absolutely amazing, mind-blowing.
Thank you.
It is just so, like we say, we put people on pedestals and we see you, and I can remember going to a car presentation, and I think we might have seen you in like Sarah Dunning for the first time, and it was like you'd gone into the ladies and we were like all outside like teenagers, like, they're in the ladies, and then you come out and we were just so awestruck. And it's just so reassuring to know that you actually started how we started and have the same feelings and struggles that we're having, because you just see you as being you and don't realise that how you got there, so to speak. So absolutely amazing call. I'm just like so reared up to go.
Oh, good.
I've got two questions. The first one was, what colour lipstick are you wearing?
It is lip gloss. It's the what's the bright pink lip gloss that goes with peony lipstick?
Is it Cosmo?
Yes, yeah, that's the one.
Because you look, I look an absolute mess, and you look absolutely.
I thought it was Lotus actually.
No, it's the bright pink one. It's funny, isn't it, how different colours look so different on different people?
Yeah. And the second one, what is your favourite book?
Oh my goodness! Now that is a question. Wow. There are so many. I've got different books that I love for different reasons, because some I think are more skills based, and then other ones are much more like personal development and more spiritual. And I feel as you go on a journey in this business, and the more you grow, there are different things that you need to learn at different points. So a book that I'd probably recommend now would be a very different book to what I would have recommended when maybe 2 years ago, because I'm in a different place and I know I need to work on different things. And for me, it's much more about the spirituality side now, and again, like the trusting in the process and learning to let go rather than skills. A book called The Big Leap, I love. And also Your Best Year Yet by Jenny Ditzler, I think her name is an amazing one to do actually at the beginning of the year on New Year's Day. It's like a 3-hour exercise that you can do with these questions, which is great. But I actually think there are a lot of principles in it that you can adopt into monthly like reviews as well. But a lot of it again is to do with mindset and trusting in the process and all of that. So there's a really good combination in that book. That, oh my God, I've got so many books. I love The Success Principles as well by Jack Canfield. I mean, that is to me like just a Bible, something that you can read over and over and over. And You Can Heal Your Life is another one by Louise Hay. That's a very good one for building yourself as a person and your self-esteem. If you've got anything and you can't quite put your finger on it, because I had a lot of self-worth issues and I couldn't quite figure out why. And I was like, I just can't get to the bottom of this. And it was driving me mental. And then I read that book, and it's so good at helping you work on those self-worth issues. It's brilliant. Again, it's very exercise-based. It makes you do a lot of mirror work where you're talking to yourself in the mirror, so you feel like a bit of a prune. But it's really good, and it really highlights again where you've got things going on. Because if you can't stand and look at yourself in a mirror and tell yourself you love yourself, then you obviously don't. And that highlighted a lot of things for me about like what I didn't like about myself and why.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Andrea, did you want to ask your question?
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I'm
Hello.
just gonna start the video. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, it was brilliant. It's so many things that we are all going through at the moment ourselves as well. But I am trying to build the business globally, because I'm most of the time actually not in UK. And I just wanted to ask you if you actually did build up your global business at all yet.
Not as much as I would like to. I have got in my downline there are we've had teams in Poland, Australia, America, and Canada. Yeah, so pretty much all the markets, but not a strong enough leg yet. I had a direct consultant in Poland, but she's not doing that much at the moment. But then, yeah, down in my downline, there are people in different countries. But again, for me, it's not where I want it to be globally. Absolutely no chance. Yeah, there's so much more to come. So much more.
Okay, that's fun. Thank you.
My pleasure. I just saw Hayley's comment about I was the girl who used to make the chicken sandwiches at the swimming pool. I used to work at the swimming pool, frying chips.
How funny.
Love it.
Okay, and then I've had sent in, how do you always look so gorgeous?
Honestly, if you saw me in the morning, you would be saying a very different thing. Makeup and Arbonne products are wonderful things. It's, yeah, I don't always look the best, I can tell you that for sure.
Okay, and another one that was sent in is, Sarah, you've built an incredible reputation in Arbonne for being professional and raising the standard high. Have you always been that way, or did you learn to do that throughout your business? Do you have any advice for someone who isn't professional on a high standards of how to raise my own game?
Depends what you think professional is. That is kind of your own opinion of what you view being professional. So I would say I've always been professional in what I do in every aspect of life, because I view that being professional just means taking pride in what you do. If you take pride in what you do, that means you are being a professional. It means you treat your business with respect, you treat yourself with respect, or whatever you're doing with respect. So as a dancer, I was very much the same. I was the person who would, always be there for rehearsals. I'd always do warm up before the show. I'd practice, whereas other people would just rock up, slap a little bit of makeup on quickly and jump onto the stage, whereas I was like, no, it's not fair for those people who have paid £60 for a ticket to watch for me to do that, and that's not taking pride in what I do. So I believe that if you take pride in what you do, you are professional. You absolutely are. You just need to see yourself as professional. You wouldn't be an area manager if you weren't professional. So it's the story you're telling yourself about, I'm not professional, I'm not professional. You absolutely are. There's no difference between my professionalism and yours. In fact, sometimes if you saw like my desk and my organisation, you'd be like, wow, maybe she's not as professional as we thought. Honestly, I'm not by any means as professional as I could be in certain aspects. And there are certain days when I look at what I've done and I'm like, come on, be a serious business owner. What the hell have you done today? What have you actually done? Have you just been on Facebook? Have you been making cups of tea? Like, what have you done? So it's just about, again, like I said earlier, us all working at getting better, honing on those little things that we can change and get better at and develop that professionalism alongside it. But I truly believe that you are professional, otherwise you wouldn't be where you're at. And you just need to flip what you think professional is, why you see me as professional but not yourself. That's definitely a confidence or self-worth thing.
Fabulous. Okay, right, the last question then. Suzanne, did you want to ask your last question and then we'll let Sarah go? As much as I want to hang on to her all night.
I could just listen forever and ever. It just suddenly come to me. A lot of us have, when we started our business, I don't, because obviously Danny's my daughter-in-law, but we have issues with our family supporting us when we started. And I just wondered, did your family support you, always support you, or have you had those times?
Oh, I've definitely had those. Yeah, trust me, it's an ongoing thing. So I was very lucky to have the support of my mum and dad. They've always been very supportive and have just said, you know what, whatever you feel is right, do it. So they were very supportive. They didn't necessarily buy product. My mum now finally buys CC cream and CC cream and the moisturizer, but that's about it. They don't buy everything else. But yeah, other than that, no, not at all. My cousin still does not want to know about Arbonne, thinks it's a cult. She came to my wedding, she was like, yeah, but it's all a bit culty, isn't it? I was like, well, it is, I'm all happy, I'm good with being a cult. And actually, when you look up the definition of the word cult, it actually means a group of people who don't conform to the norm. And I'm like, well, if that's what a cult is, absolutely, that is what I am, because I'm not conforming to the 9 to 5 norm, so thank you, we'll all be a part of it. And I've had many people along the way, like my best friend didn't support me. Oh God, I've had some horrific messages on Facebook from people. There was actually a video that went around, me and Hetty were talking about this again last night. There was a video that went around on Facebook from one of our very good friends called the Arbonne Witch. And they did this whole like comedy sketch about, being witches and like doing voodoo on people and melting when we didn't use Arbonne products and all this stuff. So we all get it, but it's about learning to go, do you know what, those people are where they're at and that's fine. I respect it. They don't understand what we do. They may never understand what we do, and that's fine. They don't need to. You don't need them to understand. And I know it can be hard when it's someone that's close to you that doesn't understand, But all you can do, I would say, in that situation is just say to them, look, if you care about me, then all you need to do is just respect my decision. I'm not asking you to buy a product. I'm not asking you to do anything. All I ask is that you respect my decision to build this business and understand that I'm doing this for a reason, and just be willing to open your mind a little bit more than what it is. And I think that's the key. It's just being honest with people and speaking from your heart and letting them know that, you know, you're not a stupid person. You've done this for a reason. And if they want to support that, they can. And if not, then you're going to do it anyway.
Thank you, brilliant.
Absolutely amazing, really truly amazing. Sarah, thank you for giving up some of your time tonight to talk to us guys about leading our teams and about your journey. I think that what you've done tonight is inspire people to believe that they can. I genuinely think that you have given everybody on this call the reassurance that they need to say, do you know what, this is my journey, and it doesn't matter if I'm making mistakes right now, because this is okay, it's part of the process. And I think you've really breathed a lot of reassurance and belief into everybody, so I'm very grateful for that.
Well, my pleasure. That's my biggest hope, because I want people to know. I think I've found my true purpose in life is to show people that they can believe in themselves and do something different. I feel like I'm that hope giver of going, do you know what, we can do this. You can do what you want to do, as long as you just believe in yourself. That is the biggest thing. So yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you. I can feel the energy. It's like a really strange feeling, but a good feeling. I can feel the energy of everybody going, yeah, I can do this.
Good. Yes, absolutely. And you guys are on track to like smash this. So, you know, carry on with the momentum that you've got. You are creating something unbelievable. So just value that and be a part of that unbelievable team that you are, that is going to go to nation and beyond. And you're going to all create phenomenal nations within your businesses as well, which is so exciting to see. So congratulations to you all.
Sarah. Thank you so much. Thank you. If everybody wants to say thank you, and then I'll end the call.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Phenomenal.
Thank you, everyone. So lovely to see you all. Hi, Nikki.
Hi.
It's incredible. Like,
Awesome.
Yeah. Let's go and smash it, guys. September is a good month.
woo!
It sure is.
All right, I'm going to end it. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.
Bye, darling. Bye.